Chairman, members of the committee, for the opportunity to present to you today. I'm a retired nurse and just a concerned citizen. I'm not a Republican and I'm not a Democrat. I am a concerned citizen, and I'm here because I fear that democracy is at risk. These are not normal times. When I first read that several states proposed legislation intending to suppress anti-Trump protests, I thought, thank goodness I live in Rhode Island. That could never happen here. And then I learned that House Bill 5690 was introduced into the state, which would make motorists immune from civil liability. I'm sorry, I'm very nervous. I've never done this before. Would make motorists immune from civil liability for injury to protesters blocking roadways. Not for people leaving sporting events, not for people leaving water fire, protesters only. And I was shocked and I was appalled. I have protested for the first time in my life. I love this country. And when President Trump attacks journalists, calling them the enemy of the people, he sets an example in which the voice of dissent is an enemy that should be silenced. And I'm determined to fight for the democratic principles that I hold dear. But I fear that if our state allows suppression of our constitutionally given freedoms without careful consideration, there may be nothing left to fight for. My second concern regards the president's words about immigrants, Mexicans, Muslims, women, and others. He singles out groups and labels them as rapists and murderers. He demeans women, and he describes Muslims as terrorists. When our president insults people based on their race, ethnicity, religion, or gender, his words set an example, unleashing insults and harm against those targeted groups. One particularly disturbing example is the fatal shooting of an engineering student in Kansas in February. He was a master's degree engineering student by a man yelling, "Get out of my country." Words matter, especially when spoken by leaders encouraging fear and hatred of certain groups. This affects me personally. My grandson, I'm sorry, this really upsets me. My grandson looks Mexican, just like his father, who is a second-generation Mexican-American, a graduate of Annapolis, and a commander in the Navy. The thought that my precious 3-year-old grandson or my wonderful son-in-law would be threatened or treated with disdain because of what he looks like is too painful for words. Due to President Trump's rhetoric and orders, my son-in-law carries his license with him now wherever he goes at all times, even if he's just going out for a run. And my grandson at 3 years old even has a passport to assure there are no concerns with his citizenship. This kind of fear is absurd in our country. Last, the FBI and Senate Intelligence Committee are investigating Russian interference, including any involvement that the President, his administration, and individuals associated with his campaign. Clint Watts, a former FBI agent and cyber expert, testified to the Senate Intel Committee that the reason active measures worked in this election is because the Commander-in-Chief used active measures at times on his opponents. By repeating disinformation from Russian sources, I have quotes, plenty of them, I have loads of data on the statements that he has made. I'd be happy to share them. One of the things he said about judges was he called them so-called judges. I read his tweets, I read Breitbart, I read Fox News, I read all kinds of news sources. This is frightening to us as citizens. Watts also testified that Trump claimed repeatedly that the election could be rigged, which Watts said was the #1 theme pushed by Russian propaganda outlets. While there's no proof yet of direct collusion, as the investigation unfolds, evidence mounts and the number of Trump associates with significant connections to Russia continues to grow. This is very troubling since our president persists in praising Putin and continues to make verifiably false statements. And I can give you a list of those as well. Until we know the extent of President Trump's involvement in Russia's ability to intervene, we should be on our guard for any attempts to use our laws in order to attack our democratic freedom. The idea that government officials, officers of the law, and the National Guard could be required to enforce unconstitutional discriminatory laws and orders against the people to suppress protest in this country is unthinkable. Bill 5547, I'm sorry, it's a resolution, seeks to protect freedom in our state, and I strongly urge support of it. Thank you very much.
Representative.
Rachel,
Please, I'm sorry, take questions.
I just want to say that I get all your emails, and it's the first time I'm meeting, and I appreciate your advocacy. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have to speak up. I'm sorry. I have never done this in my life, but I just feel very strongly that these are really, really, really dangerous times for our democracy, and I love this country, and I will vote for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel.